Hello, this is Brian, your favorite Woodstock wannabe submarine qualified, dive qualified, ex-Navy frogman, here today to speak a moment on what's happening and what my views may be. Now, I was a bit anti-war during the Vietnam War. It never got to me or my brother. My mom says, "Oh, go to Canada," and there was a kid that self-immolated in front of McNamara's office, the same way another kid is self-immolated in front of, against the war and 2,000-pound bombs going on in Israel over the Palestinian refugees. So I am more on the anti-war side, even though I somehow managed to get myself into some training that kept us up one time for 120 hours, and another class had me getting waterboarded or being stuck in a little compartment where they have to sit on it just to latch it in the box. Not pleasant, but just to get an idea and things, and had to deal with using guns, and I haven't had a gun since I was in the Navy. So, but I was on a submarine. We had missiles, and I tell you, I respected this one woman when I went over to keep my dive calls up, and I was headed over to the Bangor base so I could do a Hobby Lob dive and keep the little extra pay going. And I met the girl that was laying across the tracks. Man, I got a lot of respect for her because she cares about the world at large. So she had the guts to lay in front of the train tracks when the train's coming with the missiles to resupply the Bangor missile base for the submarines, the Trident submarines. And yet, when I was later going through a SEAL delivery vehicle training, one of the girls that maintained the trainers, she said, "Oh yeah, Dick Cheney was down here. He was the Secretary of State or whatever." And she said he wasn't impressed with the SEAL delivery vehicles. And I thought, being an ex-submariner and then ship's diver, going through a commercial dive school, I thought, man, that's a seed that's been planted and needs to grow. A covert, specialized manta ray submarine, which one I built 30 years ago, a little model that worked, and one more recently. And something that could do hostage rescue, maybe destroy some weapons. But no, we are pushing more and more weapons, more and more death and destruction, and an oppressive big brother bunch of bullshit. So, I have no, I think Jeffrey Sachs, I like most of what he says, and John Mearsheimer. I'm a little more where John Mearsheimer says, well, a little bit of containment's all right, but you don't have to be overbearing about it. In fact, I think we should help people so that their hearts say, gosh, I love Americans. And that would be great. Like if in 1946, right after World War II, when Ho Chi Minh was speaking, nobody was going to shake his hand at the meeting. And he says, we want the life pursuit of happiness. He's quoting our Constitution. Nobody's going to shake his hand. And maybe if we would have said, hey, to the French, maybe give these guys, take the pressure off. You don't need to have them if they want to be free. And then he wouldn't have, we wouldn't have been supplying fuel to the fire of civil war, because it's, the Russians and the Chinese on one side putting in the wood and us on the other side putting in the wood. Who gets the shaft? The little guy. So before people, we kind of helped him get under the thumb of, Mao and Stalin. But, and the same thing now with some of the things that we're doing. I put in $250 to Jill Stein's campaign because she was listening to Jeffrey Sachs and thought that, we don't need to go to all these wars. And I agreed. But then, of course, my wife says, oh, look at your computer. And then I see on the screen the 2 pages of stuff, how we need to be more open on the border, how we need to be easier on crime. just the opposite. And I thought, well, gosh, if this woman doesn't want us to be, I agree 100% on the foreign policy, but maybe she's just more of somebody that wants to. I don't know, but how can you be? And then the guy Abbott, I go, oh man, maybe he should be for president. Then the next thing I hear, now he's stopping the people and treating them like terrible because they have the freedom of speech. What? I mean, how could people be right on the money because there's the cartels and things? We do need to close the border. Well, there's about only one person that seems to have it all together, or maybe a few, and I'd have to say that's Colonel Douglas McGregor. So, and then of course, Scott Ritter. Now, I saw Scott Ritter. You go back to the 80s or 90s or whenever, and Scott Ritter says, oh, yeah, in the 90s, I guess. Oh, they don't have weapons of mass destruction, so there's really no need to invade. And then Senator Biden says, oh, no, that's above your pay grade. Thank you, but no thank you. We do what we want, little man. And now I've heard Biden one time, he says, well, we're America. Well, we don't need to be the biggest, shove people. They're not doing what the little guy wants in our country. You don't know. They're not being nice. Some of the stuff that we're doing overseas, some of the lies, there's good people in the Pentagon, and there's crappy people in the Pentagon. And, Trump, when he was president, he said, oh, to Russia, somebody says, hey, we don't want mid-range treaty on mid-range missiles. Because somebody on our development of, military industrial complex figures, oh yeah, they're nothing. We're just going to say, forget the treaty. We're going to build up ours so bad that everybody be scared of us. And then nobody builds it up. And then on the other side, they go, okay, well, the treaty's not there anymore. Let's get hot over there in Russia. We'll make our mid-range missiles top of the line. So that was a mistake. And then the same thing with the Iran. Iran was ready to work with us and not have nuclear missiles. And so Trump says, well, we don't need a treaty with them. So what do? They can have nuclear missiles anytime they want. Now in Israel, I guess it was Pittsburgh, there was a company owned by a Jewish guy, and it was for crushing rock and ore and stuff, but he used half the equipment to process yellow cake uranium or whatever. And then they ship it over illegally, and now they've had 10 nuclear weapons, and they say, well, we kind of have them, but we don't have them. You know what? You're not even supposed to supply. If they're not on the, nuclear proliferation list, and they got it illegally, then we're not even supposed to be supplying arms in the first place. And if they're breaking all the rules of engagement, we're not supposed to be giving them arms in the first place. If we're supporting some group that's going to drop a 2,000 or 5,000 pound bomb on refugee women and kids that were told to move somewhere, and you kill them, and why isn't the mainstream media showing all this day in and day out what Israel's doing? And Jill Stein, she's Jewish, but she's definitely against the war, so that's why I gave her the $250. But I didn't know she was easy on crime and some of the other things. But and then I couldn't understand, why some of the other folks that were running are good and say, oh yeah, we need to get out of Ukraine, and then they're getting paid off by AIPAC, so then they're going to be, Islam is not exactly for me, even though they said that Jesus was born of immaculate conception and made it through his entire life without committing a sin. At least they got that much in their corner. And So a little more eye for eye, tooth for a tooth than I'd like, and they don't treat women the way I think they should. But I don't care who they are. You don't drop 2,000-pound bombs. They're humans. So the stuff that Israel's doing is not exactly human. Keeping the humanity in mind. Now, of course, you grow up, and after somebody hits a cafe or a bus, and you say, terrorism, terrorism. Well, go back to 1948 when they knocked out 50 villages, and they're planting these trees to hide the foundations of the villages they tore down. And the trees are not even olive trees. They're taking out the good stuff and putting in stuff that's a fire hazard. But at any rate, they're hiding it. But you talk to the guys that they did a special in 1980 that were part of the Stern Gang and some of the other groups that were pushing the Palestinians out. And they says, oh yeah, sometimes we'd keep a Palestinian woman for 2 or 3 weeks and rape her and then kill her. So it's, the Palestinians remember it, but the mainstream media and the Israeli media is not going to go over that. So naturally, if you're born in Israel and you think that you're told that you were moved into a land where it was hardly anybody there, and you didn't do anything wrong, and it's your land, and then somebody, blows up a cafe, yes, your perspective will be different. That's where we need to start putting each other in each other's shoes and, not cross the line so horribly the way it's being crossed. So I say less killing. We shouldn't be supplying the arms, and total cutback of the arms. And then once things start getting to where it evens up to maybe what's happened in Palestine happens, not that I want anybody to be hurt, but happens in Israel, and people begin to get humbled and know how it feels, that's when you say enough is enough. They're all brothers and sons and daughters of Abraham anyway. So people need to have a perspective of how it feels. And I don't want them to have to go through a big bombardment like has happened in Gaza, but then that might give them a feel for what it's like. And now I'm not saying I love any group more than any other group. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But you gotta reach across, and put yourself in some other shoes. Be willing to listen to something. I mean, to me, everything seems 100% true. Now, if I meet somebody I don't care if he's Christian, Muslim, or anybody, and he wants to kill me and my family, I'm going to protect my family with my life. I'm going to be as mean as anybody could be. But you know what? I'm sure as heck I'm going to put out a hand first, say we're all brothers, we're all humanity, and stop the insanity. So anyway, and as far as, I kind of agree with Michael Moore. They asked somebody that went to the school, they blow people's heads off from a half a mile or a mile away. I didn't want to take to school. I wouldn't feel right. It's so chicken shit. I mean, if you're going to fight somebody, strap your arms together and have a knife in each hand. And you got 30 seconds to make up friends or go with the consequences. Either you're both dead, you're both maimed for life, or maybe one does a little better than the other, but at least have the guts to do it personally. And so as far as marksmen and shooting, sniping and stuff, I couldn't be a sniper. But now, covert destruction of weaponry, hostage rescue, specialized operations of that nature, hey, I'm all for it. But you know what? We're just so overbearing. We're so just giving people free rein and supporting people that are in the wrong that I couldn't feel good about working and being in a situation whether I know I'm shooting the good guy or the bad guy. I want to do things that are for the good. And taking out some weapons around the world covertly without hurting people, I think it can be done. But that's beside the point. What it is we need diplomacy. and diplomacy now. I mean, my God. So this childish crap that Biden's doing by sending the long-range missiles, well, you know, the whole thing started a long time ago. You know, Gorbachev says don't move NATO an inch to the east, and everybody says, oh yeah, we're not going to do that. And then we have a coup in 2014, and then we're putting missiles right on Russia's border, nuclear missiles, and we didn't like it when they put them in Cuba. So let's put ourselves in other shoes and not be so wise ass. It's not the people of this country that are wise asses. It's the ones that are running the show. They're like, they got these agendas. And Israel, they could have done fine integrating in there, saying, oh, can I work for you? I'll clean your house or this or that. And they could have worked in, and then they could have started businesses and shared with the other folks. You know, I don't know if they'd share any more than Samuel Friedman or Bernie Madoff. Who knows? And I don't know. They have sold weapons to South Africa. What was that one? One of the, it wasn't AIPAC, but anyway, Anti-Defamation League. I mean, my God, what are you trying to drum up money for selling weapons to South Africa? That's kind of like the bales for bullets. The human race is not perfect, the entire human race. And I think God selected a group just to show. I mean, like King David, you know, he sends his buddy off to the front lines to get killed because he's had adulterous relationship with his wife. And then when he comes home, oh, hey, King David, I won't take the leave. I'm not going to go home because I'm all for you 100%. And he says, no, go see your wife. And he refuses to. So then he says, well, I got to send him to the front lines. That way, at least they'll think maybe that's his son, you know. Oh, my God. And then his son, King Solomon, you know, overtaxed everybody, had lots of wives, and was switching religions right and left just to get a piece of you know what. And we're all somewhat guilty. We all fall short. No matter what religion, no matter what race, color, or creed, that's where we got to put ourselves in the feet and the shoes of our brothers in humanity. And, you know, a little nudge here and there, but oppressive, overbearing big brother crap has got to stop. Anyway, love you folks, and let's keep our fingers crossed. I think it was foolish and immature and very dangerous with the moves that Biden's making, and I can't take this insane cabinet that Trump's putting together, because Trump could make the right call. We just don't know what's going to happen. But with that kind of cabinet, it's going to be a close one. He's going to have to. People work behind his back and make him do stupid stuff. There's too many lobbies and big interests, and more interest than what our taxpayers have as far as to control this government. So it's a lobby government, not so much democracy as much as we like to think. But anyway, I might go on that December 7th thing if Scott Ritter's got something going. I need to show some support against the insanity that we have in Washington. Anyway, have a great day. Talk to you soon. Keep your fingers crossed. Have a good one. Bye.